Welcome back to our daily show, 9:19, a little bit of change on this Monday morning. Now it's 9:20, but who's counting? Shelly Wuellner back in the studio. How are you doing?
I'm great. How about yourself?
Well, hanging in there. You know, I think the Easter tiredness is hitting me. I don't know what you call it, but it is here. But I do know that the last time we were talking, it was really interesting to hear how you were going to go to Washington and learn, a lot, plus advocate for, healthier food options in schools, and it's so very vitally important.
Yeah, it is. It was a great time. It was a great learning experience. You go there and you think you're prepared and you have all your speeches written out and all of your information that you want to share. And then literally the morning that we went to go to the Hill to speak to everyone, some more information vital was released right at the last minute. So we're scrambling and trying to make more notes and be super prepared for it. So,
well, and take me through some of the things that you were learning as you were preparing for this, because that's a lot of information to take in, especially before you go into, that's a high stakes deal.
Right. So we go every year, we make these appointments, and your goal is to meet with your congressperson and your representatives up there. And a lot of times you might have meetings on the books and then last minute changes happen. We were hoping to meet with a lot more than what we did, but they had the budget hearing.
Oh, yeah, so, that's a little, yeah.
Yeah, they were all working, but we did get to meet with their staff, and we shared the information that we have and the last minute information that we got, and every single response that we had or interaction that we had was very positive. The staff was all into hearing about it. One of the last bits of information that we got was they're proposing a $12 billion cut to the budget, which would, I had to write it down because it's just, everything's always such a whirlwind.
Right.
That would affect, just in Illinois alone, that would affect 140 schools,
Whoa.
Which equates out to about 81,000 students would be affected if that $12 billion budget cut goes into play, because it changes percentages and availability for kids.
And what would that cut into? Would that be like the free meals at schools?
Yes. So if you participate, some of us participate in the community eligibility provision, which is free breakfast and free lunch for all students, regardless of their ability to pay or not. And some schools just make it into that program by the skin of their teeth.
That's what I was wondering.
So,
is it a population of school thing? Is it a volume issue too for some of these for funding?
Yes. So if, like in our district, we participate in that. We're 600 students in our enrollment.
Okay.
And we make it because they dropped the percentage to below 40%.
Gotcha.
And now they want it to go back up to 65%. So that would affect our district directly and our families and your community. So,
it's one of those things, though, where, some people might say, well, if other families can afford it, and, why not let them pay for it? But the thing is, that lunch option is always good because, lunches are getting expensive. Take a walk down the grocery aisle and then you add that, especially if you're already relying on that program and you're someone who maybe doesn't qualify for, government assistance for, Link or anything like that. You're taking it out of your paycheck. Well, that's another extra $150, I'm sure, especially if you have two kids for lunch for 2 weeks.
Right. Yes. It is a trickle down effect.
Yeah.
So if you're having to spend more money at school for your school lunches, then you have less money to spend on your groceries. It is a cyclical thing. It does affect a lot.
Yeah.
You can't set your thermostat at 70 degrees. You have to set it lower. So you're watching electrical bills. You have to start watching everything. So, which we should all be responsible spenders anyway.
Right. But that extra burden adds to that mental stress of, a growing family too, and a young family too, especially. And I think that it's so important that you bring this up because to me, it's not a partisan issue. I think if there's just an open conversation about what these, funds are actually going towards, and you see the numbers, which I'm sure they do because they have a lot of, people around them.
Right.
We just hope that, it doesn't, because that's one cut that people could raise their hand to and say, I don't know if that's the best option right now.
Right. Illinois Public Health Institute did a study, and 64% of the people in Illinois want to keep free meals in schools and provide that. It really is not. It's not saying you're not a good parent.
Right.
It's not saying that you can't take care of your kids. It's saying, you're in school. We provide you everything else. Why is that not even something that should be automatic?
Right. And now, what happens to, like, let's say the cut goes into effect, they pass this, budget and everything. Would the state be able to, in a way, because, I don't know how Illinois' resources work or their funding works, would they be able to step up and cover what the government or the federal side's going to be dropping?
In some states, yes. Illinois. Gotcha. No, Illinois, it is a law in Illinois, and there is no funding for it. That free meals for all is a law. It went into effect. It went on the books 2 years ago in August. Right now, through Illinois Public Health Institute, so I go to D.C., I come back a week later, I'm up in Springfield, which was really exciting. So I went to Springfield, we had dinner with the governor's office, and had a nice conversation, talking and building relationships. And then a week after that, I was back up at the Capitol speaking at a hearing, an appropriations hearing. Representative West has introduced a bill. It's House Bill 2365, and Senator Ellman has introduced the Senate Bill 1419, and those bills are asking for $67 million in appropriations, and that would just keep, if you participate in CEP right now and you are at 40%, that would keep you in it.
Wow, that's huge.
Yes, that is huge. You should really reach out to your representatives and ask them to co-sponsor that and get on board with it, because it is beneficial and it will help Illinois kids.
Well, and see, now that's, really good news to hear, too, that there is something that, we can do here at a local level, and call our reps and say, hey, support this and make sure that we can keep this going, because, I think so many times people hear that this is going to happen at a federal level, and it's good to know that some states, not all states are going to be able to do this, I'm sure, but, on the Illinois side of things, to be able to kind of say, hey, we'll get us through this, we're going to basically, we're going to meet that end.
Right. There are 8 states that have passed laws that do provide healthy school meals for all. That is just...
See, I think it would be more. When you tell me that, though, it's like, why wouldn't that... To me, that's just a no-brainer, kind of conversation to have.
Right.
When you were in D.C., what were some of the conversations that were kind of the most intriguing to you? Because it seems like there's so much being discussed now with food and preservatives, not from just what we're giving our children, but just from what we're putting into our own bodies. And I didn't know if that's kind of crossing over into any of the conversations or information that you were receiving.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, what we feed our children, what we feed ourselves is very important. And those topics have really come full circle. I mean, I'm really excited to hear about we've got to watch the red dyes. We need to be back to scratch cooking and all of that. Well, and I'm all for that. I'm all for scratch cooking, but there are additional costs for that.
Right.
A lot of schools are not set up for full scratch cooking. I mean,
how much more staffing would you have for that? I mean, would it be a staffing issue or would it be a material thing?
It's really a combination of both. You have to have the staff to do it. You can't expect 3 people to cook from scratch, and believe me, my team is amazing and they do amazing things and they're always up to try anything. But you got to be realistic about it. So I can have all the people, but if I don't have the equipment either to make it easier, it's not going to happen.
No.
But lunch ladies are resourceful. They figure a lot of things out.
Well, and honestly, it's interesting to hear that dynamic at play, because I mean, you brought in those muffins, and it was just, I mean, it was amazing that what you guys could do in the kitchen, especially for all that volume of students.
Right.
So to just hear, what that component could, be like, but also just the resources that are needed to obtain that would probably be a little bit of a jump and a skip down the road too. Well, and before we take our break, I got to ask you, because you're going back and forth to all these places. Were there a lot of crossovers or tie-overs from a federal side of things to what you were discussing statewide, or was it 2 different pendulums? I'm always fascinated by that.
It's really 2 different pendulums.
Really?
So, yeah. Illinois, they fight really hard. It's not, you don't want to say fight.
Right.
They discuss, and
they're passionate.
They're passionate, and they're open to the discussion and the dialogue, and which is great. And on the federal level as well, they're just as open to discussions. So it's really nice to be supported like that.
Really interesting. And do you have a moment to stick around so I can pay a bill?
Sure.
9:30 on the nose. Hey, we'll come back with more conversations with Shelly right after this quick one. You stay there. We'll stay here in the studio on RiverBender.com and Roku TV.
Has free checking become a thing of the past? Not if Liberty has anything to say about it. With 3 free personal checking options and even a free business checking account, free is alive and well at Liberty Bank, the local bank that gives you free checking choices and more cashing in your pocket. Bank locally, bank Liberty. For more information, visit www.bankliberty.com.
Macias Insurance Agency, providing quality products with extremely competitive prices. As an independent provider, we source multiple companies to offer the best rates possible, covering auto, home, business, and life insurance. Our goal is to provide quality service that meets and exceeds customer expectations. You can rest easy knowing the Macias team is working round the clock to ensure that both you and the most important parts of your life are covered. Our qualified professionals make the insurance process easy so you can live carefree and focus on what matters most. Visit MaciasInsuranceAgency.com today to find out what our team can do for you.
No matter the season, Play It Again Sports in Edwardsville has the gear the athletes need to get in the game. Whether you're shopping for the newest sports equipment or saving money on quality used gear, Play It Again Sports carries what you need to maximize performance to get the most out of every swing, kick, stroke, or shot. We'll even buy your used goods, paying cash on the spot. We carry all the gear for all the sports all year long. We're your hometown sporting goods store. Play It Again Sports, conveniently located at 4 Club Center Court in Edwardsville.
You're listening to Our Daily Show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com.
.33, welcome back to Our Daily Show on this Monday morning. Back with Shelly, Food Service Director for Bunker Hill Community Unit School District, number 8. I remembered that, by the way, when I typed it in this morning. Right off the top of the head. I didn't even have to Google it. I felt very good.
That is amazing. Good job.
No, it is, because I'm telling you, you should have seen me this weekend. I was losing things left and right. I mean, it was bad. Cell phone gone, found the cell phone, lose the sunglasses, find the sunglasses, lose the driver's license. It was not a, it was an event.
Yeah. Crazy.
Well, as we're getting back into, this conversation, some of the work you're doing, I think it's, important to note too, you have a full-time job, and on top of this, with this role that you have and your position as food service director, you're also advocating not just for Bunker Hill, but so many other school districts within our region and across the state and even nationally too, in levels. And I think that the engagement side and really that participation should be talked about, because you have to be active if you really want to see something get done. If you aren't knocking on the door, they ain't going to know you're there.
Right, exactly. I mean, when we were in D.C., I stood up at the top of the conference center and looked down and took a picture, and it is such a representation. There were over 850 people that included food school workers, food nutrition workers from across the United States, and industry partners. I mean, so we even have industry partners that go with us to advocate, and that's huge. That is huge. And in Illinois, we had an amazing power team, and we talked about it. And our team is diligently working on setting up a similar situation at the state capitol on the state level, so that we can impact and show the unity and how important it is. And kids do matter, and school food matters. So
and too, I think that so many times, and I hate to say this, but we've, especially if you're around the school district and around children, there's a lot of children that really need this. And I hate to say it, for some it could be what they're eating for lunch and sometimes dinner sometimes too.
Absolutely.
And I hate to for folks to go, oh, you're getting a little bit heavy here, but it's true, and you see it all the time.
You do see it all the time, and it doesn't matter. I say this all the time. We don't live inside of everybody's house. We only live inside our house. So
true.
I know now all the problems inside my own house, and I certainly know that my friends and my family, they don't know the problems that we have in our house, nor should they.
Right.
So I don't care if you are a multimillionaire. Food is food. It doesn't matter. It doesn't discriminate. It doesn't make a difference if you have money, if you don't have money. School food is come to school, eat your food, be full, enjoy it. How are we going to educate our kids if we're not setting them up to be educated?
Right. You aren't going to learn hungry. It's just never going to happen.
No.
Well, and it's just really interesting to hear how these meetings break down. So when you go back up to Springfield after you have your first, or you have your initial, or you have your previous conversation, then you go back up to be at this hearing and present. What are some of the things you kind of learned in preparation for that as you were going in for that second appearance?
It's really interesting because you think, we're just human nature.
Right.
You go in and you're like, oh, I'm so happy to see you here. I never would have guessed that this would have been an important issue for you. Or I never even thought we're all on the same team, and you forget all of the members of your team. And you should always be recruiting more members to your team, So I was really surprised at the people that were there and how engaged they were, and sitting in this hearing and, pleading our case to get this appropriation to keep our programs going. The questions, the good questions that we were being asked. And I'm like, so you're really thinking about it. It's really on your mind, and you really want to get to the bottom, and you really want to figure out a way. So, you just got to be excited about it and be informed about it, and share what you do know, so that you can get more people involved.
It's really interesting to hear that too, because so many times when you have these hearings, we're all used to it now, the 30-second soundbite, or
Yes.
the headline grabber, and it's especially for this good to know that on especially something that's such a common sense issue for me personally, and for others it might not be, but
Right.
for me it is. It's good to know that there's a lot of folks that were taking some very serious interest in this, and,
Yes.
and making sure they could be a part of helping.
Yes, it is. I really appreciated that, and I was really honored to be a part of that.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm just Shelly from downstate Illinois, and here I am looking, and you feel like you're just among greatness when you're in there. I don't care how you feel about your reps personally or your political side. If you aren't there and getting that full experience of being in the Capitol and just kind of watching what's going on and
Right.
and being able to hear what's going on and being a part of that, then you're not really an informed person.
Well, and honestly, too, it's one of those where if you're in that situation, there's so much pride, honor, and pride in that.
Absolutely.
And anyone really that's ever experienced that would know that same feeling, where you put down the whatever Big Four news station you watch for a couple of hours, and you are actively participating in a beautiful thing. The most beautiful
Right.
thing, and it's really interesting just to hear how you go from Washington, you come back, you go to Springfield, you come back, you go to Springfield, and then are you going to be on the road again here soon?
No, I don't have anything right.
Okay, like right
pressing.
away?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was curious about. Do you think this bill's going to get passed in this session?
I'm optimistic. I'm going to say yes. Yes, it is. It's going to get passed. We're going to be okay. And, you just have to stay on top of it and watch it and track it.
What can we do, to help this?
Well, you can absolutely reach out to your representatives locally. You can reach out to your Senate and ask them to support these bills. They can co-sponsor a bill. All they have to do is sign a little piece of paper saying, I'm in support of this. And the more people that call and have their reps say, look, get in here, get involved on this bill. We need to be a part of this. They're going to listen to their constituents. So
100%. And as we're wrapping up this conversation, was there any cool sights and sounds like of DC? Like honestly, just going through, because I know you're working, but like, did you have some time for Shelly and the crew?
Yeah, I always so at the hotel there's a place called Freedom Park, and you can sit down there and to one side of you is the White House, to the other side is the Capitol. Wow. So every morning I would get up, go down there and sit and watch the sunrise come up from behind the Capitol. So every year I take a picture of it, and that becomes my new background for my Facebook page, And we were getting ready to go up to the Hill on Tuesday to start our advocating. And all of a sudden, all these motorcycles started going by, and we were like, what's going on? Because you just don't know. And pretty soon, here came the presidential limo. I mean, the motorcade. Here comes the president, You're just like, oh, my gosh. You could touch the limo,
Right.
But don't touch the limo. So, every year there's something new.
Well, and it's one of those, like we were saying earlier, where it's regardless of how you think or what you think, those are moments that it's like, oh, my God, that's real,
Right.
And because I just got to ask you this, was there one conversation before I let you go that stuck with you with a staffer or anything that kind of gave you some hope or made you learn something new?
Oh, absolutely. While I was waiting for one of my appointments, one of the staff, I was listening to their office hustle and bustle. The phones were just ringing.
It's like a beehive in there.
Yeah, it really is. And, these staffers just handle everything with such grace and finesse. And in a break, when the phones weren't ringing, I asked the staffer, I said, have you been getting a lot of calls? And they're like, yeah, and we love it because we want to hear from them. We want people. So people are finally getting back into contacting their representatives, which is good. So they were really excited for it too.
And, I just think it's really, we were kind of talking about that during the break, and I think that it is inspiring for so many people that are maybe turned off right now by government or whatever's going on. But hopefully that trickles down if we get more and more people involved to a local and statewide side too, to see that, these changes are a little bit more direct at times. So it's really good to hear that coming from a congressional office.
Yes. I mean, they work for you.
Right.
So call them. You just call them and get your thoughts and your questions answered.
You know what I think happens too sometimes, and this is just a CJ thought. We watch the news or we read something, and in our minds we get a preconceived notion about the individual, or it might be love, it might be anger, and so when we want to pick up the phone, maybe like it's just me, I think that other person already knows.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And there doesn't need to be. It can just be an honest conversation with the staffer and saying,
absolutely.
Hey, this is great or this is not great.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, they do want to hear from you. So
well, and if you guys are just tuning in, Shelly was filling us in on a couple of the statewide bill that could really help alleviate some of the concern if that federal budget cut does come into play with about how many students did you say were affected?
It'll affect 140 schools alone in the state of Illinois and 81,000 students.
Wow.
So
and currently being discussed right now in the Senate and the House both, correct?
Yes.
And you can call your state rep if you're in favor of that, or your state senator, and make sure you express your support for that to make sure you can keep these programs going and would keep it at that 40% rate, correct?
Yes.
Which, if not, would affect Bunker Hill.
Yes, it'll affect our school district.
And it would affect, I'm sure, a lot of other school districts in this region, too.
Absolutely.
Well, and Shelly, I really appreciate you coming back on and talking about this, because this was really just fascinating. And if you have anything else you want to share, you're more than welcome on at any time. This is a very important issue.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
No problem. It's 9:43, a little bit of change. Hey, while I have you, let me fill you in on Centerstone. Centerstone's a national leader in mental health and substance use disorder treatment for people of all ages. They have a commitment to delivering care that truly changes people's lives. And with their their dedicated clinicians, what I think is so cool is they use evidence-based practices in their treatment program, meaning the recovery care plan is developed for you and it's based on the latest science. Listen, addiction can happen to anybody. It's 2025, but you know what can happen too? Recovery. You can start working on your recovery today by going to centerstone.org, or if you know somebody that's struggling, gather this information because you never know when you're going to need it, and it could save you some really important time when that conversation eventually does happen at centerstone.org, and you can learn more about their services across the region today.